Oh, I made a grave mistake. There's a whole menu in here. Okay, so the sky prays for light is a solved thing. So between solved inscriptions and unsolved inscriptions is solvable inscriptions, which would have been helpful if I knew about it more consistently. In general, I think it would be helpful to design a menu where you can see the options clearly at all. The fact that they're all like tabs at the top, but not even like a normal menu where you can see them all left to right. You can only see the current one. And it's, I don't know. This is it's a very flashy interface. It's very hostile to a player using it. Like it's just a rough ride. You can see almost nothing. Navigating it's rough. Pressing the wrong button at any point resets your progress, and you have to like navigate all the way back to wherever you were again. I'm not super sure on how to like parse some of this. Like, you get a date and a description, but it's often like a whole process to parse exactly where the object is from and try to remember it in concrete terms. So you're like, oh yeah, that thing. Because frankly, you do like walk into a corner of a room and then casually pick up like 4 more objects on a regular basis. And then you do the whole puzzle minigame. I don't know, maybe it's just my memory or something, but I don't feel like I have the best like I don't have like an encyclopedic photographic memory of every single item I've picked up, so it's kind of hard to parse the significance of this stuff. I'm gonna go push through these real quick, but I don't know if we're gonna get usable information out of it, but we'll see. So in Mercy, we found we found carved at base of Mercy Goddess. This inscription was on the base of of it. Holy Water Goddess. So I guess this was a question mark when I first put it down. Water Goddess blesses fire. The Water Goddess. So they're adding some grammar as we go. Etched into the shrine. Emperors live forever. That stuff's built in. On the hideout moon, inscribed into the lintel. So this is where where the emperor was banished to or something. All live again. Take me home. We're on the hideout moon. I accidentally pressed A too quickly. The description isn't in the screen that you get when you click on it, and then it leaves the menu after you click on it. Found etched into a wooden marker. Death keep you. That was the headstone. As somebody was buried. Spitefully. They don't want them to come into the next loop. On an Elbereth gate. Enter and pray. I think this is the gate? The one that teleports us? Scrap of a book at Renva's dig site? Gods will bless you. Found a piece of a book bound in wood. From Heaven's Vault, I guess? Where did we get it from? Temples will open again. Inside the goddess figurine in Mercy. So this is the one that opened up. The waters divide us and join us. Almost all of these are just adding the to the beginning for a little bit of grammar. The Emperor's Graveyard. Found a copper devotional icon. Praise to the Withered Palace. This is when we were in the graveyard. It's relatively recent. For me, at least. It was it's like the last thing I did before I didn't play for 3 weeks, and then did the last 9 hours, I guess, is what I've done the last 2 days. May the rivers carry you home. Another gravestone. The path is open for you. Yeah, I knew that the was coming. Stone marker at the grave. I will return from the rivers. The Emperor is gone. The Emperor will return. So more looping language. So the understanding the loop is at the very least very important for understanding how to interpret a lot of the text we see. May the gods hold your heart. So a lot of very similar epitaph texts. I noticed that I unlocked a lot of achievements between sessions. I don't like achievement notifications in general, so I don't want them to distract me and pop up during videos, or worse, get recorded and so on. But I did notice that, like, a dozen hours into this playthrough, practically, we had finally unlocked the achievement for, like, successfully translating 5 things. You're like, whoa, shit. Not words, but entire phrases. It's like, oh god, it took so long just to get 5. And it's because, while we have a working meaning of almost everything, it's almost always like, oh, we totally know these words, but we have some uncertain words and they're still, like, pending. It's in a video gamey sort of way, somewhat illustrative of, like, the struggles of trying to translate language and how much of a process it can be. But then the dominoes start falling, because I think we've, like, tripled that since then, like, over only like a few hours, because we suddenly started getting kind of familiar with the translated message screen. Like, ah, here you go, you got it. So now we're to the cratered moon. We're already at the launch pad, the telescope device. Look up to the Nebula. We're getting pretty recent now. There's copper sextant, the Withering Palace. It's telling that we're only translating like one thing per planet, even with this. Look at the stars and dream. The base of the reaching god. At the Withering Palace, sky. Now we know for sure what that god represented. A shard of hard board from a hole on the market moon where the kid was. To drown in the stars is a blessing. That's a lot of little bonus grammar to fill in the spaces there. The sculptor's moon. A message made of stones. This is where all the graves were. Save us. I was right the first time. That was a pretty straightforward SOS. Okay, all things considered, I have been able to remember what more of these were than expected. Or at least the location gives you context. The good news is that we have a relatively accurate understanding of what narrative was playing out at each location. And so with that context, we can understand most of the messages, even if we don't remember the exact relic it was on. I am Vault God. That was a big deal to find. Now we're down to just solved and unsolved again. View translation. This is one that I can't do at all, right? Yeah. So whenever it says view translation, it means you can't do it at all. Or can I? It's letting me try. I believe I'm missing that word. It definitely feels like in a lot of these I need longer versions of these terms in order to continue. Okay, so there's was, which we're anticipating the existence of. Water. I think we need take or something. I don't think there's a standalone circle symbol. I don't think that there is a standalone hash mark symbol. I don't think there's a standalone squiggle. So I think we need the version of the word give that has the squiggle at the beginning, the version of for that ends with hash marks, and the version of home that ends with a circle. Until I have a bit more, I don't think we're going anywhere. How does it react when I do this? Okay, it kicks out give. I've kind of given up on these in that I was trying to be clever and see if I could get them right on the first time. but it kind of does feel like the game forces you to commit to a wrong answer before it lets you continue. But I could be wrong. I'm just gonna say that I do see that it looks like everything's wrong while I'm doing it. I'm not blind to that. I'm just trying to figure out how to interface with the video game itself, and it feels like it won't continue until I make mistakes on purpose, essentially. Right, there is a comma there, so that I was wrong about that being a longer word. Because there's a comma on the left over there, that means that that little squiggle and 2 hashes is a separate symbol, separated by of. Maybe. Sometimes the dash is part of the word. The apostrophe is part of the word. So it can be hard to be sure. This is interesting because in the past when I tried doing this, it wasn't crossing stuff out. Sorry, it's hard to multitask sometimes. When I did this in the past, so normally when you do this, you do it with her, and she talks about what's happening, and says, no, that doesn't work, and then sends you back in with one less word. And then when I tried doing it from the menu on my own, it didn't give me feedback. But now it is giving me feedback, but without her talking, so it's like partial feedback. It's putting me in a slightly different gameplay context that makes me a wee bit nervous about just trying to feel out how to interact with the game and what it might want from me and whether this is solvable. We only have was or is for the long dashes, and it shouldn't be is. Here, maybe if I put is in, it'll get rid of is. On purpose. Just get it wrong on purpose. There we go. I knew is was wrong. The struggle is I still don't know whether I'm supposed to successfully eliminate all the wrong answers in order to continue or what. Particularly, I think this is the first time I've been in this situation where the game didn't progress. It's like those are all run to end to end and they feel decent. If I don't use... Okay, so it crossed those out. I feel like I have to brute force a little bit here. If you even can win. That's the thing, is I don't know if I can win. I don't know if it will ever progress, or if it'll always be like, anyway. But I think the struggle here is that there are 4 places where an apostrophe can go. And if I think I have to put them in... I think if a single one of them is wrong, it kicks me out. So I have to get I have to put them in the correct order from the get-go. Let's go right to left, maybe? Four might be wrong. Okay, so here's the thing. All of these bigger characters have never been crossed out. So I think they do have to go in, because they haven't been crossed out, so they've not been eliminated. Then it's probably just a matter of brute forcing which comma is valid. Apostrophe, sorry. I don't know why I keep saying comma. Okay, so I tried each of them once. None of the standalones work. A duo? This duo? Okay, I don't want to try all of them again because it always breaks it. These ones? Don't do the middle one. That one is there. It can't fit anywhere else. That one can't go anywhere else because the other ones don't have dots. That one can't go anywhere else. When I put them all in, it quits. Okay, so I think this is unsolvable. Probably. Or something. Huh. I don't know. I don't have a very clear understanding of what's expected of me in this game when it comes to this stuff. And it's made all the more confusing by the way that, like, it also seems to all be pretty optional. Oh, these are solved. Whoops. Slightly different joystick inputs lead to wild, weird stuff where the whole thing starts zooming out or scrolling everywhere and I'm like, ah, shit. Iron lamp. Some of these are very long. Power can. Getting rid of can. Does it save my progress of what I've eliminated so far when I revisit it later? On some level, a thing I struggle with a bit is that there isn't, like... You're not given, like, a visible dictionary that's numerically represented to say how you're progressing through the game's progress. You can't see your growing dictionary in the moment when you finish something. So even when I do solve something, I don't know how to tell if it, like, can I move stuff around in these menus and solve something that was not solvable once upon a time, and that then locks in the word? Like, I don't think I've ever fumbled with these menus and then had the game be like, ah, I'm certain of my definition of this now. I don't know. It's a huge complicated menu that feels like I'm supposed to do something in it. But I don't think I've ever... Besides that other menu where I just, like, confirmed, hey, all those words you tried before, they worked now. Oh, this one again. Day is for work. Container is for work, maybe? Yeah, it's not gonna indicate. Server moves from one for next. From now for last? I don't know. I guess I give up. Is that you now, 6? Of course it isn't. Okay, well there goes my previous suppositions about how things are working, because I thought maybe she always was 6 and unlocked the rest of her consciousness or something, but now they're just like, now she's just like, no, this isn't 6, no, 6 doesn't exist. I guess Aliya just never cared about 6, because she doesn't give much of a reaction. She's sometimes kind of an audience insert, but I don't think she's so blank slate that she doesn't react. Like she cares about other characters, so... I'm wearing your robot's face. So how casually she just instantly moves on from 6 seemingly dying, maybe? Is startling a little bit. Aliya. Oh, Huang. Read anything good recently? Been researching loop text grammar. That's taking all my time. I made a few finds recently. Show me. Inscribed chipped sculpture. May I take a look? There's a fragment of an inscription. I read it as serpent moves from one for next. You know, I'm sure you're correct about one. I was pretty sure about that one. Could seem to be the numbering system. Thanks, Swung. Now, I've seen something a bit like that, if I remember right. It was also inscribed. Let me see if I can find it. This is the script from a thin god model. It was found buried here on Iox, back in Miyari's supervisor's day. This one's a phrase run together. Ah. No, I didn't mean to leave. No. What? I didn't mean to leave at all. That's frustrating. Did I just break it and now I don't get my progress because I can't tell how this game works with that part of the game? The B button can be so frustrating. One, when I pick something up and bring it up here, but then I hit B, I mean, don't place it. I'm like, wait, no, I found a better option. But when you hit B, it puts it down. And I'm like, no, A puts it down. Why would B also put it down? B is cancel. But then I accidentally pressed B and it just left the whole menu. And I'm like, no, I'm translating it. What are you doing? That's the whole game. Why would I leave? I've never had the game confirm something from here. Will it work now? Okay, love is confirmed. That's good. So that can happen sometimes. Pray and love your... hand. Goblet people soul. Soul? I'm gonna say people because I take the hash marks to mean more. It's more, and then there's an icon for person. So that was interesting because it checkmarked something I said. So it can do that. I've just never gotten it to do that ever. So you can see why I'd be confused. I've never successfully checkmarked it. Let's go to the very beginning of my unsolved inscriptions, which I have to scroll through one by one like this because there's no skip or fast forward button. And this is how many items we picked up over the last 20 hours. Huang showed me a passage from the Annals of Mazwai. This is where this all started, practically. Empress buried laborers. Well, she buried robots. We know that now, for sure. It's referring to what we think it is. We pilgrims pray. I don't think it's weaker or quickly, so it's probably pilgrim. Krishna wall. I fear stranger. On the hideout moon. Probably fears the stranger because somebody showed up on that moon and then somebody got killed and buried. Spitefully. Charred book from a Pilgrim and Stranger. I think those are both correct from the base of the other ones. Carved into a coffer lit on the hideout moon. Treasures of enormous value. Yeah, maybe? I guess I'm kind of back to square one where I'm like, I don't really know how to interface with the screen. Because nothing ever comes of it. Do you have any more like that? Let me see. How about this? This is marked into an armless god devotional icon. It was found in a Elbrethian market a few years ago. We took the serpent to be the market god, didn't we? No. I hit B again, but it doesn't work that way. Got a new word. But yeah, a lot of my inability to continue is tied to the fact that there's just tons and tons of words that I've seemingly only encountered once or twice. And so even if they make sense, a lot of my backlog is just, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop, I guess. They all need to start toppling over when I find the correct thing. God's pathways for you. Seems straightforward. It's like the word goddess, but with an apostrophe. Do you have any more like that? Let me see. Nothing comes to mind. I'll take the chipped sculpture to the archives then. I'm not finished with it yet. Oh. Well, of course. My entire motivation is I just don't want him to fucking walk away. It's really frustrating when he walks away. Like, please don't walk away. Walk away. Dented lantern found in the rivers. See anything like this dented lantern? Interesting. I've seen something else like that, I think. Only inscribed. Now, where's that volume? Little does this guy know that if he would successfully archive more items if he just batched them and could set them on a table for a minute, and then would just go archive them after the conversation was over. It's a sketch of a dented brass incense burner. It's found drifting in the wash near Elbereth. But because he leaves for like 2 or 3 minutes at a time, I'm like, nah! Both my own normal human impatience and my doing a let's play impatience, where I'm like, I'm doing a show right now, you can't just leave me here. I'm not done with you. Sleep safely, my... This one has a lot of symbols, but I think it must stay asleep. Yay! Sleep safely, my... child? Destroyer! Gives holy time. I see that icon as being a sense of infinity. Endurance, legacy. Like your child is your legacy, so it might be child. Sleep safely, my child. Will do for now. Do you have anything more like that? Let me see. No, nothing comes to mind. The archivist will enjoy the dented lantern. Not finished with it yet. Oh, well, of course. I'd bent... Oh, now he's done. So it's always 2. It's really consistently... they will take 2 and then show you things in response. Toppy only ever shows you 1 thing, I think. And Huang shows you several things. Sometimes. This is where we get really in the weeds of the boring part of this game a bit, which is that I just have some busy work to do of... I'm basically grinding. Like, I'm about to go fight the final boss in a JRPG, and now it's time to grind. Like, I'm trying to level up, essentially. I need to do this kind of boring, repetitive task where they have me go back and forth between 2 locations over and over again, because they throttle you for some reason, even when you have nothing else to do. And I'm trying to maximize that so that hopefully as we go into the final area, because it seems like the final area, I will hopefully have the maximum number of phrases translated, which increases our understanding of whatever comes next. Oh, you can also fast travel to the ancient aquifer. That's one way of highlighting that it's a really important location. So I'm currently running back and forth in the tall grass to get random Pokemon encounters to level up my Charizard. Except my Charizard is my dictionary, and I'm kind of recording this whole part in like this dubious sense of like, am I keeping this? On some level, it's repetitive and kind of boring. It's putting in the real work of being a scholar in this setting, but without the satisfying narrative hooks that come from exploring a planet and uncovering each individual moon's little arc and revelation. But I don't think I want to dump it because it's not sincerely disposable the way that repetitive JRPG encounters are. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be a bonus video you find in the playlist. Maybe I'll just... Let's see. Maybe I'll upload it as like... It'll have a disclaimer at the beginning, like, hey, this episode's basically grinding. If you don't want to watch it, it's not that important, but it is part of what the game ultimately is. I don't know how long to wait before I go back. I'll see what I can find out. Not waiting for you to rescue me. You'll disappear off to some half-empty moon and forget all about us back here. Same as you always do. Are you comfortable here? I'm comfortable enough. I found some things out there. I told you before. No. Not a chance. Sell what you like to Toffee, but leave me out of it. I'm glad you're well. Good faith to you. I've uncovered a few items you might be interested in. Oh, yes? A telescope device dating from ancient times. You spoil me. A beautiful, unique piece. But I don't have anything worth trading for now. My apologies, Aliya. But even the most bountiful font must run dry. He's out of stuff. Seriously, where do you get this all from? We've got artifacts back there that the Iox curators would kill for. And they're not all stolen from me. You really don't know? Did they ever let you out of that orphanage you grew up in, Al? I used to work for Timur. In his bar. That's just changing one prison for another. You should look around Albereth sometime. Really look. Are you saying your finds come from here? Yes, every point of information we found for the last like 3 or 4 hours is pointing towards the idea that Albereth is the most important location in this nebula, basically. But it became a location of poverty because basically there's massive generational and knowledge loss over the course of the entire empire falling, and then specifically the wellspring here stopped transmitting, and so it became this thing where like well, that place has the water and this place doesn't, so I guess that's where the power lies. You go to any kitchen here, you'll find 300-year-old ladle or a salt pot with ancient in the base. Everyone looks at Elbereth like it's a rubbish dump. But you find all manner of things in a rubbish dump. I can't imagine you digging in a rubbish dump. You'd damage your nails. That's true. I have people who gladly go digging for me, so I don't stand in the way of their happiness. So where on Elbereth is good for artifacts? You want to cut me out, do you? I want to understand the history, Toppy. I don't much care about the things. Strangely enough, I believe you, my dear. Most of my little finds are sourced from the old town. You don't have to dig far in any patch of wasteland, but you'll find something. A perfume bottle, a belt buckle, worthless rubbish until you polish it. Where you go wrong, my dear, is you think people care about how old something is, but they don't. People only care about how fragile things are, how easily it might have been broken or lost. People like delicate, fragile lovers and delicate, fragile things, and then they break them and come back to buy more. It's a seller's market. So you steal from Elberethians? I don't steal. I find things of worth that people don't know they have. When I go into the lower walks, people open their doors to me. They hold up spoons and buckets and say, "What about this, Toppy? What about this?" That must be great for you. I don't do it for ego, darling. I do it because it's there to be done. Look, I'm no doctor. I don't run the orphanage like those grey ladies of yours. But I'm no thief, and I'm no vulture. I'm having suspicions about Elbereth's history. You're telling me you find your artifacts here. Do you think Elbereth used to be more important than it is now? Us Elberethians, we know it. We can feel it. Elbereth used to be the seat of power. The Catkiss itself was a fortified city. It's right there in the name. You enough patois, don't you? It means citadel. It's where you live, Toppy. You should know the name of where you live. You do speak some patois, Aurelia, but you do not hear it. So what does Catkiss mean? Catkiss, Aliya, means place of kings. The Catkiss was the original palace of the Empire. Look around, Aliya. Aren't we all just living like kings? I'm sorry, Toppy. I didn't mean to be rude to you. No, you just can't help it. Iox picked the right one to take it to its bosom. I'm not an Ioxian. Imagine if people here cared about their history. Imagine if they cared about this place. Strangely enough, I believe you, my dear. Most of my little friends are sourced from the old town. Okay. Same conversation, somewhat strangely. Kind of replaying. People like delicate, fragile lovers. Anything else to say? Thanks, Toppy. Always a pleasure. Okay, well, we didn't get any new words. But we got confirmed the exact thing I was just talking about, which is the idea that this was the seat of the Empire. I think we even had some hints at earlier on about context. But maybe our stuff do be drying up. believe this town is functionally just getting smaller. You can't even go back to World Shop anymore, so there's just the slave market and his house. I don't think you can get much more done. Oh, she won't go down there anymore either because Timor's gone. Okay. I'm a little frustrated there. Because they suggest what I thought was true, which is that this place... I thought this was true ever since it was introduced with the worker that got injured, because at first it sounded like the worker got injured here, until we realized it was off-planet. So ever since then I've been looking for the idea that there must be relics on this planet. But while I've been proven correct, I still can't explore this planet looking for relics. All I can do is deal with what he gives me. Increasingly, the places that I could check aren't even explorable anymore. They somewhat smartly are reducing the size of the world as the repetition sets in, so I don't revisit old locations. I do think this might be our last trip to Iox then, though. Unless the dam is about to break and they're about to let me just actually go through my entire backlog of relics. I'm definitely frustrated by the fact that this is how you make progress with your dictionary and everything. But I can't just do it. Just let me do it. Just let me keep doing it. Because I'm running out of places to do. Like I have to like go somewhere else and come back essentially, which takes like several minutes of watching animations and dialogue playing out and walking across entire areas. So I'm just like, please, let me finish my backlog. A decorated telescope device from the cratered moon. Up to the Nebula. I think you're right. Interesting. I'm not sure we have anything quite like that one. Would you like me to archive the telescope device? He didn't give me anything, so both of them didn't have anything to trade for it. A robe from Renba's cache. Just the purple robe I looked at recently. Very fine cloth. It must have belonged to someone important. I've seen this kind of thing before. Wait a moment. Let me see if I can find it. I put it somewhere. Here. This is an early Empire shroud. It was found in a splinter in the Renaki Reach. So that's a book. You there? There are some small characters to be worried about. Crossing out the apostrophe. All light can go up. Getting rid of all. All seemed wrong, especially with width being not part of it. Like, there's a curve and dot at the beginning that must be connected somehow. It was just floating out there. They do say that these are fragments, but so far the part that you see is always intelligible, as if they've preemptively gotten rid of the wrong parts. She just called me a rogue. You're supposed to be nice to me. You're currently pretending to be my servant. Go is gonna go next, I think. No, up is going next. Okay, are any of these words correct? Jeez. Light go, okay? Dead find above. Many and light, so brightest light cannot go dark. Rep. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that's right. No, I'm not done. Show me more relics. What do you think of this ceramic tile? Interesting. Not sure I have anything quite like that one. I'm not letting you walk away. A decorated shard of hull found on the domed market moon. What's left the inscription says, to drown in the stars is a blessing. Beautiful. Now, seen something a bit like that if I remember right, and it also had some script. Now where is it? Here it is. It was a curved wooden chunk of a boat's rudder. It was found adrift in the wash. There's a few words in this one. Stars above and wind below. The opposite of the word above. The stars above and wind below makes sense. Do you have any more like that? Give me a yes. Scripture found on a fragment of wood from a mast. It was found buried here on Iox back in my mother's day. It's from the olden days. The discovery is old. All the parts are old. Wins something us as blah blah cup. Lift or mold us makes sense. Makes. Okay, it looks a lot like the word for make, so it's probably mold, but the word for make could be wrong. Worryingly. 2 mountains in a row. Oh, king or queen are interchangeable in this context. Once again, leaning towards the word makes. Huh. Looking at the context, the winds mold us as a potter molds a cup. Makes sense. Like it's a satisfying thing that comes together. The word molds repeats here, I guess. No, give me more. That's the second one, I think, so he might dry up now. Then I have to awkwardly leave and come back. This throttling is frustrating. Surely you're done here. Time to go. Inscriptions. Solved. Solvable. Broken stone model, withering palace, domed market moon. Sail safe in your sleep. Add that to the list of solved ones. I don't think any of these tabs, you can see them by location. Finds, Toppy, Chart, Compass, Elbereth. Compass. Compass is main to the burned tower. Found an unusual compass 20 days ago. Inferred the existence of a new location. Triangulated ancient site. Gave the compass to Toppy. Tracked down the ruined tower. Why is the compass so focused here? Sky prays for light. Oh god, the things you can tab to change contextually. Now it says burned tower, Renba's dig site. Oh, I'm so sorry that I'm out of my depth with this menu, but what? The tabs change contextually. What is going on here? Chronicles of Maz Y, that wasn't here a minute ago. Withering Palace. I don't know what to think about this menu. It's very strange. Huh. Oops. How many do we have? I was thinking of counting them, and I realized I think we have way too many to count. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna try to go here. Because, the prospect of looking at all of that just made me age in real time. They've created a system where you can potentially solve the entire language by, you know, being a good, responsible, fastidious scholar and actually collaborate with this guy and sit here and look at all these relics and then get this language down, which is seemingly one of your goals. But they made the process of pursuing that goal torture. Like, if I can review that many relics that I have on hand, but I can only look at them 2 at a time, and then have to load off the planet, then go somewhere else, then come back, then load back on the planet. Some player, some poor person probably did that, and I'm sad for them, but I think I'm gonna stop. I don't think I could just sit here and do this for the many hours it would take at this rate. So we'll have to hope for the best.